Hey, Shaun, let's talk shop.
Yeah. All the tools and templates in our Hot Young Designers Club shop were built by designers for designers to save you time and to help you grow your business.
I think we did a good job focusing on making them beautiful while being completely customizable and at an affordable price point.
Yeah. So head to shop.hotyoungdesignersclub.com to learn more and save 10% off your first order.
Welcome to the Hot Young Designers Club podcast.
I'm Rebecca Plum, your big sister.
And I'm Shaun Surha, your GBF.
We're not that hot or that young,
but we believe it's a state of mind that helps us build adaptable and profitable businesses.
We rely on the support of our design besties to get through each day.
So let's explore the emotional, practical, and humorous sides of being interior designers.
Welcome to the club.
Hey, Shaun.
What's up, Rebecca?
We have a guest today, a very special hottie. Welcome, Meredith Huck.
Oh my gosh, did you just call me a hottie? Thank you. Hi, guys.
Welcome to the club.
Right? What an intro.
It's all for our best hotties.
I know you've been a loyal listener, so thank you so much for being here. Can you tell the audience a little bit just where you are, what you do?
Where I am and what I do, I can. I'm not just a loyal listener, though. I'm a loyal fangirl. So I do want to throw that out there. Love you both. Love everything that you offer. But anywho, my name is Meredith Huck. I'm owner and principal designer of House of Huck, which is a boutique interior design firm in coastal Connecticut. And yeah, it's me, myself, and I at this said firm. I do use the term we, though, because I have contractors and VAs and all the things.
But, it's a royal we.
Yeah, exactly. But yes, we are happy to be here.
I love it. Have you always been in Connecticut?
Yeah.
Like with House of Huck or just in life?
In life?
In life. I'm from New Jersey. I'm a Jersey gal.
Jersey.
I went to school in North Carolina. I love Raleigh. I want to move there, but I never will.
Okay.
Moved to
Is that
Boston.
another backstory? Like we should know.
No, I just I mean, have you ever been? It's awesome. And
to
it's
Raleigh?
I've been to Raleigh.
I think just
Charlotte and
High Point, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say some people fly into Raleigh for High Point because it's probably less expensive. But yeah, I moved to Boston, then I moved to Ohio, then I moved back.
Ooh, glamorous Ohio.
Yeah.
Sorry to our hotties in Ohio. It's just
Ohio's great, just not.
I have family. I had family who lived in Erie for a long time,
and
they were like, but that was like lake living. We're very separate from they don't want to be part of everything else. So
we're big Ohio State Buckeyes fans. I will say that.
Okay.
What did you have your business in any of the other places?
In any of the other? No. So I have a corporate software sales background.
Interesting.
Selling payroll. I find a lot of gals, like girlfriends that I have that are designers that maybe didn't have an interior design background will be like, oh, I was in marketing or I did buying for Neiman Marcus or like something creative. Nuh-uh. I sold payroll, literally payroll software in all those other places, Boston, Ohio, back to Connecticut. And then I just had like a YOLO moment. And I was like, what am I doing? Answering to someone else. Like I have children to answer to. I don't also need somebody to dictate my
everything
life.
You do.
I don't know. That's like a whole. I mean, how long's the podcast? We could go on that for a while.
How long ago did you start House of Huck then?
3 years, almost exactly. Yeah.
Ooh.
And what made you choose interior design?
So my husband is an engineer and very engineering, which I am not. And he's always done a bunch of our house projects, like our current house. He's with it by himself. He gutted the entire thing and put it all back together.
Oh, wow.
I love the audacity of an ensuer. I love they all kind of have that. They're like, I can do this.
Well, they can figure it out.
Wait. Let me back up. I was 3 weeks postpartum, had just moved from Ohio to Connecticut to a hotel. We had just bought a home. So we finally were in. I come home one day and my kitchen cabinets are gone. And I was like,
no.
Oh, we're doing this.
Oh, no.
But like looking back, I guess I never realized I designed all of the spaces that he was renovating. Our house in Ohio, our house here in Connecticut. We have a rental property in Connecticut, our place in Boston. So when I had that kind of like, again, I it's my YOLO moment. You only live once. I was like, what should I do? I thought, I'm just going to give this a go. It can't be that hard, right? Like,
Yeah.
just paint
How
colors.
much is there to do? Yeah.
Famous
Right?
last
You pick paint
words.
colors and that's that. I do have my real estate license. So as just kind of like a career-driven woman, I didn't want to not be making money. So I was like, worst case, let me just fall back on this like real estate thing. And I did sell one house. I don't want to brag, but I did. And that was that. I put myself out there on social media. A friend would hear, another friend, and it turned into this, I literally am going to use the word massive business that is just me today.
Wow.
It feels like it moved really fast.
It moved so fast because, okay, let me also share my daughter. She just turned 6 yesterday.
Oh.
She started kindergarten this year. And when I left corporate, I was like, okay, if I'm not successful in 3 years when she goes to kindergarten, so she'll be in school full time, I'll go back to corporate. Like for sure, I would be able to get a job. The companies that I had worked for prior, I was in partnership sales for a lot of these companies. So partners I had still had great relationships with. I was not worried about having to go back to corporate. That was like my mark on the calendar, 3 years. And she went to kindergarten this year and there's no way I will go back. Unsubscribe.
That's amazing. I have a good friend who was in kind of corporate sales, similar like software sales, and she made a big leap of faith and changed her career in the last few years, and she's been super successful. And when we talk about it, I always think, I mean, obviously she knows what she's doing. She's great at what she does, but also I think a lot of her success is because, tell me if this is true for you, with her corporate sales background, she has such strong systems of like sales funnels, and like she's like very like sales forward with proactively reaching out and here's the next step and like just getting them into her world.
Yes. And it's funny because all of like my least favorite bosses, I feel like I actually pulled a decent amount of like what they did and what they did that I didn't like, but to kind of bring it into the business. So you talk about process and organization and like some of the templates that you guys have that you sell in your shop that I've purchased have really been instrumental in my business because I know when and where I'm sending those to clients, whether it be like the furniture budget or how many times does someone ask, what's a receiving warehouse? Or do I really need that? That's $3,000. That sounds like a lot. Being able to have that process, have that templatized and like share and know when and where to do that has helped tremendously. I am super confident. If I had a creative background, I would be getting in my own way, stepping on my own toes, and would be nowhere near where I am today. But because I have that business acumen and I'm also comfortable speaking with the CEO and the janitor and different trades and, some of these luxury clients that we have own multi-million dollar businesses, like just having worked again in the corporate world, speaking to C-level executives, that's
You
helped.
speak their language.
Emails. Like oh my gosh, I have to be careful what I say, right? I have a potential contractor that we recently brought to 3 new projects to bid out. And his emails, oh my gosh, I'm like, I don't think I can work with you simply because I don't it's just not professional enough. And we are a luxury, we're a luxury design firm and we want our trades and our vendors and our partners to exude that high level.
Like, what are the budgets of those projects that he's bidding on?
That this contract, that will really give it away, but that's okay. So one of them,
you could say figures if you don't want to give numbers.
6 figures.
But
They're not new builds. They're renovations. I would say they're mid-scale. So we're not talking a bathroom, but we're also not talking like a 6,000 square foot home full gut. 2 are complete first floor guts. And then another one is all the bathrooms in the home.
He's going to be there for a while. Like, there's going to be a lot of communicating. And if he already shows that he can't do it at the bid phase, it's just going to get worse when he's like in the job.
Yeah. And not to go off like on a tangent there, but let me go off on a tangent.
We love one.
We put QR codes on site for all of our vendors, right? And these QR codes are real-time information because what we were doing in the past life 2 years ago was bringing construction binders or even just an email thread. And the email, you're looking at the wrong set of plans because it's not the most updated set, right? So if you go on site and scan these QR codes that we have, it brings you to the most updated elevations, 3D renders, spec book. If I'm working with a trade that is like, no, I don't do that. That's totally fine, but I don't not do that. So we're just not going to be a fit. And I think
we're not changing. You're not changing what House of Huck does to accommodate how they want it. You're like, I'm sorry, I'm not coming here every other day when something updates and giving you a paper document. No.
Oh my gosh,
or dealing with
I would
mistakes.
keep my dad in business though. He does work in the paper industry and would appreciate that. He's
Gotta
retired.
keep dad's pension.
So he'll be fine.
But does that go to like a Google Drive, or where does that go that they see those documents? Where does the QR take them?
So I do have a free tutorial that you're welcome to share with others because it is kind of hard maybe to explain, but essentially it sits in Canva and you can copy a view only link for whatever you put in Canva, if that makes sense. So my elevations are a PDF that I just copy paste essentially into Canva. Okay. And then I have that link that goes in the back end, for lack of better words, with this QR code. So you scan the QR code and it goes to the most updated version of the link. Some people are like, well, I want to see past versions. Go for it. Then print them out. I need it to be real time.
We don't want the wrong thing floating around.
I might still keep like version 1.1.2 or whatever. Like that's all saved in my stuff, but not in anything client or contractor facing. Because as soon as I replace it, I want to just have it be replaced. And I don't want them to even have the ability to find the old stuff anymore.
So we just had our first huge issue, huge paint color wrong on cabinets that were already in production because the cabinet maker wasn't utilizing the QR code. Oops. And I think that's just a really good example of why he's like, well, I have this version. I'm like, well, I don't know. That version is 18 weeks old.
Oh my God.
The QR code has the most.
So he didn't even do a double check, which is also okay, shit happens on a job, but also it's before we spray these, let's just confirm.
Yeah. So
could have done that, but
that might be the last time we will partner together. Because of things like that. Hey, mistakes happen. I don't know about you guys. I make mistakes
all the time.
Right? But
hopefully they don't cost me too much.
The amount of trades that don't have the CYA gene is so strange to me. Wouldn't you just triple check just so it's not on you? You're the guy with the spray paint, or whatever. But you're applying the permanent finish or cut or whatever.
I would say, that's why some of my vendors or my trades, I'll give you my plumbing vendor, for example. We use a local family-owned company here in Connecticut. They have, 10 locations maybe. I will spec, say, a bathroom and spec something maybe that doesn't fit, or the spout isn't going to go far enough over that cabinet. Or, it doesn't happen often, but my vendor, she's the expert in the plumbing fixtures. She will tell me, we can do that, but I don't think I'd recommend that. And here's why. So for example, with something you're talking about paint, wouldn't you double check? I want my cabinet maker or my painter or my electrician to tell me, lovely idea, Meredith, that's not going to work. And here's why. I'm not the designer that's it is my way or the highway. No.
Or question my color choices. You sure you want this puke green on here? Yes, but thank you for asking. Genuinely, I don't.
Yeah, no, seriously.
I don't care if it's not your taste, but make sure.
The confirmations are helpful, and hey, just can we sample it real quick? That kind of stuff. Because I like that being questioned a little bit. I had to
double check.
A wall got framed out in a different spot on a current job I'm doing, and it meant that the pendants over the island are not. They cannot be perfectly placed in relation to everything where I would ideally have wanted it based in my drawings. And the electrician and the contractor are hey, I think we need to fudge these a little bit because it's just not going to look exactly the way we thought it would based on all the framing and structural. And I'm okay, well, let's mess with it on site and just see if we can get somewhere. And I appreciated that he didn't just put them exactly where my lighting plan called for it, because yes, it would have looked off. And
I love
and it's a bitch later to redo it when I walk in and see them in the wrong spot. So I'm glad he did that. And I
Yes.
appreciate being questioned on a couple things here or there. But,
Yes.
I'm also learning more about like the cabinet maker. If they're really good, hey, these panel sizes I want to, instead of 3 panels on the back of the island, I think I could do 4 and it would look better. And I'm like, oh, that looks so
Yes.
much better than I wouldn't have even known to do that. Like,
let's have a
I always
conversation.
say
yeah,
my trades are an extension of my business, like for sure. And that's why they need to be
good
like
communicators.
top notch.
Yeah.
Like,
they have to know enough of the problems to know why you're trying to plan ahead for them. And some of them are just used to blasting through, or the client will be happy no matter what. And
we'll never
that's
know the
not,
difference.
yeah.
Oh, cool.
Except our clients will. That's the only problem. Like
Or
they
I
really
will.
Yeah.
And now I'm photoshopping something out photos later.
9 months later.
So I'm just curious, back to the contractor who maybe doesn't have email acumen. Are you going to say something like?
I don't think so. I don't think my way isn't the right way. It's just my way. And that is how I run my business. And I think that is really cool about owning your own business is like, y'all, we're all designers and we might do things differently. I was chatting with a girlfriend yesterday, a designer. She goes on site to every single, like she doesn't do a discovery call. She goes on site. I would never in a
First
majillion.
meeting.
Yeah. Like not a client. Just you're interested in my services. I'm going to go out on site. I wouldn't do that. We sign about 90% of our contracts before ever meeting the client.
Same.
They see me on social. Yeah, they feel like they know me and they feel confident in all the things and we're able to move forward prior to going out on site. So like her way isn't wrong or right. It's just I would never do that.
Yeah. There's so much time and energy that goes into that initial discovery phase and everything. So I want to like ask a little bit more about that. Are you having like Zoom call or phone call with them as part of your discovery process? Like they're interested, they inquire on your website, they come in.
Yep. So they'll inquire on my website. Every now and again, I'll get a DM and I still send them to my website, not for any other reason than unless something is in my email and unless something's on my calendar, I will a bajillion % forget about it. So like, again, that's just my checks and balances. Like, hey, I'm so excited to work with you, Shaun. Could you please go fill out this? It's like a four question questionnaire.
Okay.
Super basic. I used to reply with a template saying, Shaun, thank you so much for reaching out. Here is a design questionnaire to fill out. And then we'll go ahead and set up the discovery call. I found I like wasn't referencing that questionnaire ever. Like I was just doing it because like, well, that's what everyone does. They send
something. Yeah.
So I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that anymore. I literally don't care if you like purple or pink or blue. I'll probably find that out on the call and we'll just go from there. So from that 4-question questionnaire, which is just like name, address, budget, I don't know, what's your favorite cookie flavor? Like nothing crazy. We set up the discovery call, which is always on a Wednesday. I'm very efficient. I like to time block. If I have them at all different days, I can't get to what I need to do. So like we're recording this on a Thursday. Next Wednesday, I have 5 discovery calls. They all came in through the month and I kicked them all to the end of the month. It was just easier for my calendar. So we have the discovery call. Usually they're like, oh my God, I feel like we know each other. And I'm like, I don't know who you are, but that's great.
Yeah, you're like, it's cute. Thank you.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Or like sometimes people will like reference a DM that we've done back and forth, but maybe they don't have their picture on their social. And I'm like Shaun, how it's a picture of your bearded dragon. How do I know who you are?
How do I know this?
I hate that so much because it happened to me recently where I didn't realize I was talking to somebody that I actually like kind of know in real life as an acquaintance. I'm like, oh, I referred you to that. Like, no idea.
Yeah.
Because they have like a weird name or like handle on their Instagram and it's private and maybe I don't follow them because I don't know them that well.
Also, guys, put your name.
Put your name, please.
I just want to know like Rebecca. Is it Sally? Is it Emily? Who am I talking to?
There's so many people that I just refer to as their like weird handle or business name. Like a lot of designers do it too. Like we've kind of railed on this before.
Yeah.
Like I've had to like do, not everyone would do this, but I'll like do actual research. Like, okay, I want to know this person's name. I talk to them a lot on DMs. I'll go to their website, no name.
Yeah, about me. The business started, and you're
Nothing.
like,
What's your name?
Yeah, who are you, please?
Yeah. Identify yourself now.
So if you're talking, you're saying like 90%, you're getting signed before ever actually meeting in person. Are you prepping proposals after that call? Or like, how does that work if you
Yes.
haven't met them then?
So the designer I was talking about, the discovery calls yesterday, she was like, I don't understand. How do you put a proposal together without ever going out on site?
Mm-hmm.
So one thing I will say, I have very, very low overhead. I don't have a studio. I don't have a team. I know I say we. Again, I'm we. I don't have, I don't know, what else do people with big overheads have? Like a coffee machine at my office because I don't have an office. Like none of that with House of
It's usually
Huck.
like salary or office is like your biggest controllable expenses. Yeah.
So I don't have a lot of overhead. So while no matter what, I don't think that should technically change how you charge. It's a lower risk for me, right? It's my time. Having said that, I think my time is valuable. So I know if we have a discovery call and you want to furnish 5 rooms in your home, and like roughly, I know the size of the rooms.
Mm-hmm.
I just actually, let me ask you, why do I need to go on site and see those?
Well,
rooms?
are you hourly only?
I'm flat. I bill flat fee backed in though from an hourly rate.
Yeah.
I bill a monthly management fee, which generally speaking evens out with some clients that need a little bit more handholding, with some clients who, we have a client right now, oh my gosh, it's a dream project. They left for LA in August and they're like, we'll be back in December. Here's your budget. Can't wait to see it.
Love
like,
that.
That's it.
So they just auto pay, we'll be back. They're out of the way. But you're still being paid for that monthly management of everything, even though it's easier when they're not there.
When they're not there, they're not even approved. They've approved nothing.
Yeah.
You're not showing them any design boards at all?
I know. It's probably never going to happen again. They said they don't want. She owns a business that was recently kind of took off, we'll say.
Oh.
And she's like, you're good at design. I'm good at this. I just don't have time to like sit and dissect and approve. I love your style. Just get it done. Yeah.
Is it mostly furnishing?
We're doing some light renovations and furniture. So, and like swapping out all light fixtures and like, yeah. But we have a contractor there because there is some light construction, we'll call it.
Yeah.
Okay.
A couple things. So I love that for you. I think I would be nervous to not. I do think that it would be ideal. Yeah. I think it would be ideal to be like, here's just the mood board / design board with like pictures of stuff. You do not need to cherry pick things, but is this the vibe? Thank you. Okay, bye. I love that. As far as like, why do I need to go to this space? I guess it just depends. If it was an empty house, I probably wouldn't. Like, I have a dream client right now where it was basically an empty house. I found a video online from the real estate company. Like, I gave him a proposal before I went, and I probably wouldn't have needed to go if I had the measurements, but
I do. So I
have an out-of-state client I've never been to, and I've been working with her for a year. So, I mean, you're right.
So new build, there's nothing to see. A knockdown, there's nothing to see. An addition, there's nothing to see. A renovation, I probably would, definitely case by case, but I probably would suggest coming out on site just so I could understand, is this a structural wall that we're knocking down? Is this, what exactly are we doing? I would say that would be the only scenario where I would push to go out go on
how
site.
much are you going to have to do at House of Huck to get the rest of that over the line would change the flat fee if they're
or
really...
how much are you ideating on it? Like you need to kind of see what the options
Another
are.
Another thing though goes back to like those trades. I have 3 primary general contractors that I know. Like I know how they work. They know how I work. We work well together. And it doesn't particularly matter if we're doing 2 islands or 1, or the cabinets are going to be, the island's going to be 7 feet deep versus 4 feet deep, or like he's going to get the construction side done and I'm going to articulate the design. So far, again, I'm 3 years in. Maybe in 3 years, I'll be like, holy shit, remember when I used to not go on site? It works. I've yet to have a project that I look back and was like, wow, under budgeted that one. And oh, by the way, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but the furniture is the bread and butter, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is
every time.
So especially when furniture is involved, honestly, there would be scenarios where, I mean, if you said I could do a whole home, I would I wouldn't present it as a reduced design fee, but the design fee there is not paying the bills essentially.
Right.
Yeah. It's almost like the design fee is the lead generator for the markup revenue that you're going to make on everything. And you're like, okay, let's make this enticing because if I get the little fish, the big fish is coming right after it.
I'm also very selective. I'm curious if you both are with my clientele. Like my husband is a chameleon. You could be so mean to him. He will still like show up chipper and willing to help. I just don't have that in me. So like, if I don't like you, it's just not going to go well. So on that discovery call, I generally can also, like when people are just wicked confused about my process, which I think is pretty tight, and I have documents and I show things, and we're also probably not going to be a fit because I'm just going to get to a point where I'm going to be like, Rebecca, I don't know how else to explain this to you. Like, this is how it works. And sorry.
Yeah. This is part of the process.
Yep.
You're already not on it.
I do pass on maybe like 20% of folks that are interested in working with us, but I'm just like, either they want to know what happens when there's a design emergency. And I'm like, I wish I was a heart surgeon.
Literally never.
More money, but there's no such thing. Or we work Monday through Friday. We need to meet you on the weekends. I also work Monday through Friday, so I can't meet you on the weekends. Like things like that,
incompatible.
I would push aside. So generally speaking, I'd say my clients, because we get along so well, there's a lot of trust involved. The revisions are pretty low. I usually, depending on how the concept meeting goes, will incentivize them to approve everything. Maybe I'll give like a 5% reduced rate on product if they just agree to everything. And that happens, I'd say.
Oh.
How do you communicate that? Like in advance, like bonus, signing bonus?
I'm not too bashful. They all know I make a markup. It's different on every project, on every product and project. So it's not like I can articulate that to them.
Yeah.
But if the presentation went very, very well, I ask for revision requests within 72 hours. I make sure the presentation is on a day that like they're not going to Egypt for a vacation the next day. Like they will be around, they have the dedicated time, their schedules are free. And if I feel like the presentation went well, I'll usually just share, hey, I just want to share with you. As you know, we bill flat fee and revisions take time and energy and effort. It sounds like things went well. I do just want to pass on this, 5% reduction in cost if you're feeling confident and ready to move forward with everything.
That's amazing. That's smart because you're right. Like it's saves you so much time. Like, all right, let's start ordering.
And like the mental, like it for me, I'm hearing the trade-off. If I'm the client, it's like, okay, I can be decisive and agree that I like this and I can save money. And it reinforces that that's literally how your project stays on budget, gets stuff done. Like in life, making quick decisions, moving decisively saves you time, energy, money, all of it. So it reinforces that this is still happening, but you can do the revisions. It's just, I can't pass along a savings to you anymore because it doesn't exist. Like,
right.
You know what else it does that's really smart, like psychologically, is I think some certain types of people feel like they have to negotiate or like have a change for power. So it gives them power back of like, oh, I'm still getting something over on her. I'm getting 5% of her revenue. So I think that, I really like that. Yeah. My last amazing presentation was like a slam dunk, no changes. And that feeling, and they approved it in meeting. And that feeling is like unbelievable. Yeah.
And I've been on
and
the
I'm
other
so
end.
happy. I'm so excited to work on their project. Like it's just
it almost like gives you confidence too. Like, okay,
for sure.
I did it. Let me go order now. And I have been on the other end of that. And I don't know about you guys, every project I'm learning, I'm like, okay, or I'm changing my contract. I'm like, just recently we had somebody request just a couple of revisions for a kitchen. It was like tile, the faucet for the water, the filtered water, and a grout color. I mean, on a kitchen bar. Those were the 3 changes.
Easy.
And when I presented them, and we utilize design files for our software, when I presented them, they asked where the new render was. And I said, oh, we don't do revisions to the renders. Well, I went back in my contract, and while it was in there, it wasn't like crystal clear that revisions are just product revisions, not renders. So I went back to the drafter that we utilize and requested the render for them, because I felt like that was on me and poor communication. But like after that, now for my next contract, we have edited that line, for lack of a better word. So it's crystal clear that the revision does not include a new render. It's just product revisions.
Or at an additional fee.
It's a single design, like completed design render.
Mm-hmm.
Like and then if they want to change anything, sorry, we're not paying for. We'll do it if you have
additional
to. But
renders.
They're gonna pay for it.
Right. Like one render is included per space. Well, it's a couple views, but each space is rendered. I just feel like usually there's a lot of confidence. And again, if we're just changing a few things, that doesn't really warrant a new view.
No.
But nevertheless, again, I mentioned earlier, we all make mistakes. That was on me. I ate the cost. I produced a new render and we pivot. But yeah.
And hopefully it's not like too wild to redo it. It's just, it does take time administratively, going to the renderer, getting it updated, making sure it looks good, then bringing it back. There is time that's lost on that for sure.
Yeah. And I've been on, again, talking about evolving each project. I now ask we have a homework board. It's a Pinterest board, so I can ensure that our aesthetics are truly, truly in line. I had a project, one of my favorite, love the clients, send them their holiday cards and gifts every year, and they send me their Christmas cards, and great relationship. I presented exactly what I thought they wanted to see. It was a 5-room furnishing project, and they literally rejected everything. They were like, this is not what we had in mind. And remember that really long questionnaire I said I don't do anymore?
Yeah.
Well, they were a client that did the questionnaire. In it, this woman talked about loving like oranges and browns and reds, which is what I was kind of almost like a Studio McGee Amber Interiors kind of vibe.
Mm-hmm. Like rusty, earthy.
Like autumn is like the color, like my palette. And she's like, I really think I like blues and grays more, which like those are polar opposite.
Okay.
Ma'am.
So,
thank you.
Little different.
Yeah.
But we went, so for my contract, I was going to do a revision. So I just scratched the whole thing. I said, let me just start over. I can't like keep the one lamp that you want or whatever. And the second time around, they approved everything. So just really making sure again, that communication is there, right? Okay. So this is my design concept for you. This is the picture that I am working off of. And if they had seen a Studio McGee picture, she probably would have been like, nah, like not.
Right. If she had seen that like autumnal inspired, really warm space, she would have gone, these just aren't jiving for me. Can we look at something different?
Instead, I designed the whole space like that.
So are you adding a step? Have you added a step since then?
I wouldn't say I've added a step. I am just making sure that we are crystal clear. So I've removed the questionnaire. And I've pivoted to Pinterest. I give you a secret board and I ask you to pin as many. I'm like, bonus points, the more pins, the better. And I need notes because in a prior project, we were doing a kitchen and this guy had all these conical pendants in his kitchen. And when I presented conical pendants and he rejected them, I was like, can you elaborate? He's like, I hate conical pendants. And I'm like, you have 6.
Interesting.
So, I was posting those because of the backsplash. I'm like, well, we're not doing the backsplash. We were just swapping out your light fixtures while we were here.
Oh, interesting. So they don't always know. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, because I have a client right now who she thinks she's drawn to white color, which is not my thing, which she knew from the beginning. Like she's like, we don't really want that, but I keep going back to it. And I presented concept level. And I showed her things that were alternatives because they have a very like shadowy, dark house. It's like a moody on the first floor, especially. Second floor has a lot more light, but downstairs is darker, moodier, shadowy, like all day. And they have color already down there. So I kept reinforcing again, like literally everything you've told me is you don't want white. And after the concept level, she's like, maybe we just do a white. And I'm like, nope, we're not. I'm not doing that for you. That's not the project that you said you wanted. That's not the project you told me you wanted to do. I don't want to do. And I think I have actually a call with her coming up next week for some other things. And I think it's that like retreat to neutrality is like
I'm scared.
she's scared of
Safe.
committing. And now what do I do? Like I picked this guy because of this, because I'm attracted to wanting to do color. I want to try to do something different. I don't want to pick what's safe. I need help. Like it's all the right signs, except she's just like, oh, it's just now that I'm seeing it, it's too. And it's like, no, we're not going
I think
back.
it's
Like,
when there's a dollar amount attached to it.
oh yeah,
like,
especially
I
we're
get
talking
scared.
about like refinishing kitchen cabinetry. Like, yeah, that's a really big move. You're going to spend a lot of money on just that alone, and painting them. If they were like, she has like a birch ply. Like, if we're gonna paint all that, it's a big move. It's
I know,
bold.
and
Like,
there is some permanence.
yeah,
I mean, I kind of joke, but I'm dead serious. Like anything can be done with money, right? We'll knock the
Yes.
house down if you don't like it. We'll rebuild it. Well, shit, that's
Exactly.
going to cost a lot of money. But there's some permanence that comes along with interior design. Like I'm hoping on Black Friday, I can invest in a new pair of jeans. An investment in jeans for me is like $200, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
like, let's say in a year, I'm like, man, I just don't look good in these jeans. All right. No love lost. Like, am I bummed I wasted $200? Sure, but whatever.
Sure.
Refinishing my kitchen cabinets.
Yeah, tens of thousands of dollars, new lighting, new hardware, new plumbing
Getting
fixtures, like
my new floors. Like
Yeah.
that's again, it's not permanent because if you want, we can knock your house down, ma'am. But it's permanent, right?
Yeah.
Like you're
Permanent.
not. Nobody's hiring either of you or myself to be like, do you mind redoing our kitchen? And like in 2 years, we're going to gut it again.
No.
So
I mean, if
can
I'm rich, then
right? I'd be
If
a
it's my
horrible
house.
client because I would be like, oh my God, are we sure? Are you sure? You think?
Is this this is your final answer? Like, yeah. So I get where that comes from, but I'm relating to that idea of like, oh, what did I miss that? Did they miss that? Like, I know in my case, like, no, we looked at the kickoff call. We looked at the Pinterest stuff. We went through all of this. I called out some specific images and I added a few more in just to be, problematic. Usually I'm usually just like, let me just toss some curveballs in
That's
here
what I
and
do.
see the reaction to things, because there's some stuff I want to do that I don't think they're necessarily going to get on board with, but I want to agitate the process early so that way it's less jarring when I really am trying to present, or I'm kind of getting a feel for their boundaries of like one of them I wanted to do like a glazed brick on their fireplace, which it's not a great looking fireplace they already have. So I was like, I'm going to put this out there. And it got reactions from both of the husband and the wife, but I was like on purpose trying to see how hard can I push. In this case, it's the husband. To him, he's just like, it's fine the way it is. And of course the wife hates it. So I was like, how far apart are their extremes on this? Let me put something like what they think is extreme in here and see.
And then walk away.
Is anybody coming into the middle? Are they going, ooh la la? Like, no, but he did not ooh la la. She did.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm going to have to pick the most neutral, unoffensive thing in the center if I'm going to get him to even come to the table. She's fine bringing it down if she has to, but I like putting some agitating imagery or ideas in that initial kind of like kickoff review of that stuff just to see if it gets a reaction sometimes.
Or if they're honest, sometimes I feel like people like don't want to hurt my feelings. I'm like, no, you'll hurt my feelings at the end when we're done. And you're like, this sucks.
Yeah. It's not what we thought it would be. Like, oh God, not now.
I've been doing that too for the last couple of years where my first communication with them is a questionnaire, but I then include a lot of photos that some of them are a little bit trick questions like Shaun's saying, and some of them are just visions that are popping into my head of like ideas. But I also put kind of busy photos in there because I want to see what they're going to pull out, because it helps me see too do they hate conical fixture like that? Like people that are like really stuck on weird things, like I don't like circle patterns or whatever. Like that you can tell if what their brain kind of is like by the way they answer questions. And some of them are really looking for like, oh, I don't like that vase in the very back right corner of that shelf.
Yeah.
Like,
so don't buy it. Like,
but it does tell me a lot. Like, okay, they're noticing every little detail. They care about everything. Versus someone's like, I love it. Then
it's beautiful.
They're just vibe. Like they just want the vibe. Hey guys, this is your mid-episode reminder to join us over on Patreon.
Yes, for our $5 monthly membership, you help us keep the lights on and help us make the content even better. So where do they need to go?
Patreon.com/HYDC.
You got it.
Thanks, hotties.
I have a question can I ask you guys a question?
Yeah.
Of course.
What do you do? My least favorite question that I'm like really easy to read and I do a terrible job at being like, thank you for asking that question.
Oh.
When you present something, whether it's your render, whether they're products, whether it's just a concept. Do you think it's okay to mix metals? Or they'll be like, does that sofa go with the rug? It sure does. That's why I'm presenting it to you.
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes people are like, oh, do the whites clash there? I'm like, I don't know how to answer that. Obviously, I'm not presenting something that I think looks bad.
Yeah, I've been trying. Who was it who said, there's a bunch of people that basically say, if you're talking a lot, then you're not as confident in what you're saying is kind of I'm going to get to the rhythm of it, but it's that idea of like in the sales process or in the thing where they say, do you think it's okay to mix metals? And that I've been practicing this more where I go, yes, I think it's going to look great. And that's it. Or they're, oh, do you really think those go together? Yeah. We built the whole design plan around that. And you just leave it like,
wow, okay.
I'm not the one with the problem. And I'm trying to lean into that because I do want to like explain why I think that is. But I am so tired of explaining why when I know it to be true. And I'm like, I don't like this. Like,
but don't you
I'm not going to do it. Like,
to me, it's like case by case. Like, if that's again like me trying to understand the psychology of the person. Like, if some of them just need to be armed with the answer, so they feel like they can explain it later, or they just want to know that there is an answer. I don't know. Not everyone's like that, but
design, am I right, is subjective. Like what I might think is stunning, you think is the ugliest thing ever. And that's what I think is so cool also about it is like, I can do whatever I want.
Yeah.
And again, back to like that very first step in knowing and trusting and liking each other. That's so important because ultimately, yeah, I love mixing metals, but it's your house and your money. Do you hate mixing metals? Because then I guess
if I tell somebody, yeah, that's way your eye moves around the room. So all the plumbing's going to be the same color, but now the hardware is like an accent of a piece of jewelry and your eye kind of follows these sparkles around in a different way instead of just everything looking the same. Yeah. Answers like that, I feel like people are going, oh, and then they may actually see it differently than this doesn't match.
I can see that. I can also appreciate that sometimes someone just needs to understand the reasoning versus they're like objecting to it.
Questioning you.
Yeah, like I hear people sometimes, I'm like, well, you could also lead with the like, yeah, I do think they look great together. What are you worried about? Like you could.
Ooh, I like that.
Like, what are your concerns?
That's
like,
what I say to my kids. I'm like, well, how does that make you feel?
Yeah. We have to like redirect the energy back to them where it's like, well, I'm not responsible for the way you feel about mixed metals on something. So what are you worried about? And if you think, oh, I just think they're going to look better.
My mother-in-law won't like it. Well,
yeah.
Right.
It's like, okay, what am I designing for them? Or is it really just like we actually really have always loved having all the nickel finishes in the bathroom. Okay, great.
It looks like a Home Depot catalog, but that's fine.
If you want it to look like it just popped out of Pottery Barn, sure. No, I'm just kidding. But I feel like I need to know.
not that this is a therapy session, or maybe it is, but
It
of
always is.
overthinking and overanalyzing, because you kind of touched on it, Shaun, just like they might just be asking. It's not like somebody disagreeing, just like, oh, we'll use mixed metals. Can you mix metals? Yeah. Instead of being like, oh my God, where are you at? Oh my God, you must hate it. You must
Well,
hate
I
it.
also,
you're questioning me and my work now.
to add to the therapy session, I also wonder if both of you are questioners by nature, because questioners
100%.
hate to
calling
be
me out. Okay.
questioners hate to be questioned, because I don't get like that doesn't bother. I don't get prickly about that. I feel excited to explain it. So that could be a little
You're
bit
right. Nobody's ever
of the
said that to
mirror.
me. Oh my gosh.
Like questioners hate to be questioned, and so it will trigger a
Definitely
response if that's like your person.
Yeah, because I'm ready with the like, oh, how much do you want to go over my doctoral thesis about this right now in this design meeting? I'm like, please don't make me
I
Would
unload
you
all
like
of
to
this. Yeah.
see my
love
degree?
that.
Like, yeah.
Let me get my brain unloaded onto you now and overwhelm you. Or I could just say, like, hence the why I'm trying to do the more, I think they're going to look beautiful. And then now it's your job to tell me for sure yes, for sure no. Like, I need them to decide ultimately.
But I think it's smart, if that is a trigger for you, to have a way to diffuse your emotion in it.
Yeah.
Because they're probably not emotional. You're reacting emotionally.
That's why I'm trying that whole,
no, I think that works.
Say less of it all. Like, I think this looks beautiful together.
As long as it's not like
tell me,
trying to be a power move of like.
But it kind of is. I mean, in any sales
like
environment, it is, where people are like, I'm not sure about the Volkswagen Beetle. And you're like, well, it literally has all the stuff you told me you wanted to buy in a car. What else are you looking for? Like, so like, there is a power play of you. Now it's in their court to say very specifically, I think conical fixtures look really funky. I just don't like them now that I'm seeing it. Like, I want them to, they have to verbalize more than I have to. Usually.
And then we have to document it.
Well, they have to communicate. Like, I just saw in a Facebook group someone who installed a feather down sofa into somebody's house, and then the month later the client said, oh, I'm allergic to feathers.
What the
like goose down. And it's like, I can't help you now. Like, what?
Especially if it was described and it was in the order and it's on the invoice and it's in the proposal and we talked about it. Like, I'm sorry you now bought something I can't do anything with. Too bad.
So weird.
Knock on wood. That's never happened to me. I hope it never does.
I mean, God, I would.
Well,
that's again why we have tear sheets and proposals and we write all of that stuff and the foam and the whatever. Like, I have thought about, oh, could I shorten this up? It doesn't need to be in there or whatever. And then I keep realizing, no, it's there for, I've got to put in materials. I've got to put in fiber details on the fabric. I have to still document as much as I can.
It did make me think, though, an allergy question would be smart to add.
I have one.
Oh, you do? I don't. Okay. I'll add that. It's so good to document, though. And I think a lot of people, or maybe this is the overthinker in me, assume that it's like, we need to know who we can point a finger at. And it's not that at all. I have 12 projects right now. Like, I cannot, I'll get a call from a vendor just called right now. And I'm like thinking, okay, he's going to ask about a certain project. I'm going to need to be sitting at my computer looking up that project. Cause like, I don't remember what the cabinet faces are on 123 Main Street, because I have 17 other vanities, kitchen cabinets, bookshelves, built-ins that are going in right now. So
let me not guess. Yeah.
I'm a sucker for documentation.
Okay, so I want to talk to you a little bit about time blocking. This is my biggest
it's
issue.
A hurdle for Rebecca, especially.
Okay. Well, now everything, though, we have too many blocks to where I'm like, a couple weeks ago, I'm like, Shaun, I need to be able to go to lunch on a Friday sometimes. Like, we have a standing Friday at noon meeting. And I'm like, I need to sometimes have a loosening up. So we figured it out. But
okay. So I just feel like everything I do with time blocking is a 90% of the time thing.
Okay.
10% of the time I make adjustments, whether it's because I have to or a client has to. I'm not like so rigid that I can't be flexible. And I've had people that say Wednesdays are their in-office days, so they can't do a discovery call. Well, that doesn't mean that I'm not going to take that call, right?
Okay.
Yeah. I try and have less hour blocking per se and more day blocking.
Mhm.
So Tuesdays and Thursdays, I generally do my site visits. Wednesdays, I do my administrative work, which consists of my discovery calls. I try and have all my discovery calls on Wednesdays. In the past, I have done, whatever. I can just do that call on Friday right before I do. It ends up if I do a 9, a 9:30, a 10, and a 10:30 discovery call, I can move on to the next thing. Whereas if I do a 9 a.m. discovery call Monday and a 10 o'clock on Tuesday and a 10 o'clock on Wednesday, and it's like breaking up my day. I don't have enough time to like truly start a task.
And you have to be at your computer and you can't.
So last Thursday, and I'm doing it again this coming Monday, I went to 12 different sites, 4 of which or 2 of which I went back to one. Like, for example, I went to a project site. A rug was being delivered. The warehouse wasn't coming for another hour. And I had to meet a vendor in that same town. So I quickly went to the vendors and came back to the site. So that was three visits.
Yeah.
I went to another client, met the contractor. We did a walkthrough. I'm working on their neighbor's house. I went to the neighbor's house because I had to deliver a couch cushion and then pick something up from them. Like, I did all of these visits. I left my house at 9. I was back at 2.
Wait, into 12 different places? That's very efficient. Yeah.
Super efficient. And I will tell you, I got phone calls during that. I didn't answer them. Like, I had to get these site visits done. And when I came home, I was like, go on with your bad self, Meredith. I felt
like, look what we just did.
Yes. And so I mentioned at the very beginning of the podcast that I have some discovery calls next Wednesday. Someone did ask me if they could have it this current week, Wednesday, which I could have done, but it just like made a lot more sense for my calendar to bulk them. So I just put them all on that Wednesday.
Yeah.
I usually leave Mondays and Fridays as just like my ad hoc day. Maybe it's me going to get lunch. Maybe it's recording a podcast. Maybe it is doing a random site visit. Maybe it's a weird day where I do have to do a discovery call. Maybe I'm taking a damn nap. Okay. Those are just
your time now.
Those are like my flex days that I can, I have a big presentation coming up on the 4th. I probably will use this Friday to like knock out the rest of the presentation. So design. I find setting days to do certain things, and it's really hard, but this urgency culture that like, oh my gosh, John just texted me. I need to answer John. And now I'm doing an email, and now Dan just called me. So let me call Dan. And then I'm so bad at it, but I'm trying so hard to like not answer the email as it comes through. I don't need to be there for you, client, for you, contractor, for you, whoever, because I'm doing something right now.
Yes.
Okay, so how do you schedule your discovery calls? Are you doing it just via email, or do they can't just
I was using Calendly, if you guys are familiar with. Yes, you are.
Yep.
And I stopped because this might be the control freak in me, but I didn't like seeing my calendar and seeing, I am free next Wednesday. And then Tuesday at 4:00, realize, someone just booked something on my Wednesday. Yeah. So I like to be the one to say, do these dates and times work for you? So I'll manually, I get the auto, I have Squarespace, I'll get the auto inquiry. I'll send a template saying, hi, I'd like to schedule. How does Wednesday, November 27th between 9 and 11 work for a 30-minute call? They'll come back and say, usually I have luck because it's far enough out. If not, I'll give them some other dates and times. If that doesn't work, I'll be like, why don't you suggest a time? Okay. And I'll make it work.
That doesn't bother you. I fucking hate that.
Scheduling.
And forth. The back and forth.
Yeah.
So like you could if you chose to do Calendly again, you could put buffers of like they can't schedule within 4 days or something.
Could do that. Could for sure. I think also if I got an inquiry today, I would either see if the 27th works for them or kick it to the new year. And sometimes they will say like, I really want to get started on this right away. And sure, I can be flexible, but I need to try my best to be in that block, in that bucket.
Yeah.
Otherwise, shiny red ball, and like
chase
nothing gets done.
Yeah.
I do half the email, half the presentation, right now next to me, I have cabinet drawings, and I got my colors, and I'm doing the cabinet hardware.
Mhm.
And like, I got a phone call from a vendor while I was in the middle of that, and I almost went to answer it. I was like, nope.
Yeah.
I've been trying. I'm not good at it, but you're encouraging me by saying this because I've been really trying to lean in on do not disturb times on like, because unfortunately, the laptop, the iPad, the phone, they're all a thing. They're all having notifications or stuff. So I like my iPad now stays on do not disturb all the time. Like I don't want any because I'm usually working in like good notes or I'm like taking down information. I'm using it just as a working tool, but not like a communications tool. So I don't need the emails. I don't need the text. I don't need any notifications going to that. So it's pretty much just like an offline device that happens to have access to the cloud. That's it. And then I'm really trying to do more with nothing comes through on my phone when I'm working. Nothing comes through on my laptop if I'm doing like CAD. It's just this is CAD time, do not disturb. No notifications, no messages. And I do feel like it's helping me keep my brain focused longer and without feeling agitated or like scattered. It's
or
not
badly
perfect.
even. Sometimes I feel badly. I'm like, oh, I really should answer that call.
But now I don't even see the call coming in and I'm just like, oh, well, I was working on something. Hey, how's it going? No one is saying, oh my God, I really needed you, or that was really urgent, or what, like none of
Well,
that's
they'll
not
call back.
happening.
Like I have like a breakthrough if they
Yeah.
call 3 times or something. Yeah, I do that. And it's also like the more you kind of know yourself and the way that your brain works and your
Mhm.
habits, like I know if I am mentally prepared to do bookkeeping admin, like I have to like strike while it's hot. Like I can't wait and do it later because I just might not be able to do it. Like my brain just might not be in the right place for it. So same with creative. And that's where if I get a creative spark, I do feel like I need to write it. And that though can be very derailing.
What about for like site visits? So that is the biggest thing just because like site visits have drive time, right? So it makes no sense, in my opinion, tomorrow morning that I have blocked off to do my social media for December to drive an hour away to my site to then drive an hour back. So that's probably say like 3 hours of the whole day when I'm going there next Tuesday. So I can just save it for that trip that I'm driving that far. Will you guys like stop, drop, and roll for site visits? Do you? Yeah. How do
It
you?
depends on what it is. I try to like really find out like, are you painting tomorrow or can we like
do you really need me is often a question.
Can we look at this next? I have an opening on Tuesday and usually it can wait.
I think also
I probably don't have as many site visits as you do.
Again, those 3 that I use, they also know that I swear I can be flexible, but that I do like more of a heads up. I do send them this is the best way. I don't want to say this is the best way to work with me, but like I'd appreciate. So like, I don't call me today and be like, hey, we need all the plumbing fixtures delivered tomorrow.
Right.
It's not going to work. God. I mean, it would.
I need much more notice than that. Yeah.
It doesn't have to work like that.
Don't tell me Thursday that Friday you're doing the tile and you need me there just to oversee the layout. That's not good. So they give me enough time, or they'll be like, hey, in the next 2 to 3 weeks, we're going to be doing tiles. I'll be like, okay, let me like kind of set aside a couple days. And since I know I'm going to be in Fairfield on Tuesday for at least 2 hours, let me hit 2 of my vendors and 3 of my projects while I'm there. Yeah. It's not foolproof, but it's been working for me. It's just me and the business. And I have childcare. So I have my 2 older children, 7, 6, and then I have a 10-month-old. He's 9 to 1 in daycare. That's it.
Oh yeah,
so you really have a short window to make your business fit into where you need it.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm surviving, not thriving, guys. I'm kidding. I'm thriving.
Baby.
It's relatable though, because you're like, okay, I ran out of time. Oh well, like it'll catch up somewhere. I'll have to figure out a place, but you're also like it's not putting you out of business to do that. So it means it's not failing completely because what you're doing is working.
It's the life of a business owner. Last night, I was actually up till midnight and like, I love some good sleep. I like to be like in bed by 9. I had to work. I had things I had to do. Yesterday was my daughter's birthday. So I didn't do any visits. I didn't have any discovery calls. I focused on my daughter yesterday.
Yeah. So, as you should.
Yeah.
That's how it is.
Yeah. Okay. I feel motivated to tighten up my process. I mean, I have some. I don't have like people can't schedule stuff with me every single day, but I do feel like the discovery call, because also like you kind of want to get in the headspace for it.
It's honestly
get pumped
my
up.
issue.
Like I need to
I
have like
can't,
good
like
energy.
right now, if I was like, all right, guys, I have a discovery call in 5 minutes, I have to go. Like with who, what's it about? What's their timeline? I need food.
Yeah, you need space for everything.
That.
Very much.
Totes.
This is some good motivation. This is still underscoring my point that I was telling Rebecca recently that I really feel like I want to separate my work phone from like my personal phone finally. And these boundaries, like I'm the boundaries boy. So I'm like, okay, set days for stuff does have a lot of value. And
would Google Voice not, can't you do that with Google Voice?
But then the notification is still on my phone, my business phone.
Your email?
Like all of them, like if there are the active times for Google Voice, they're still in my phone. It's still on like my personal phone. So I'd still have to go into the app to read the messages, to check the voicemails. And I really just like want it off. Like get in my car, turn on the work phone, get out of my car when I come home, turn off the work phone, and literally don't look at it at all during those times when I'm doing. And then none of it is on my personal device. So I don't even on the weekend. The Renstead email is not even showing up on my phone at all. I don't see any notifications, no alerts, no nothing. I would love to take, I use like Apple email for my personal email. I would love to not have Gmail on my personal cell phone anymore and just like no more at all.
Rock on. That would be cool. So I just recently, like within the last 9 months, started giving clients my phone number. I wasn't giving them my phone number because I truly felt and still I still feel there's no design emergency. In what world do you need to call me right then and there?
Yeah.
And the only reason why I started giving it to clients was because I started doing an amazing job, in my opinion, at screening them. And basically like, unless we're going to be friends IRL,
no
like,
need.
I don't want to work with you.
Yeah.
And I don't see that in a disrespectful or mean way. I'm just going to do a super shitty job.
Yeah.
Because I don't like you. And you probably don't like me either.
I feel like this is your Jersey showing.
Yeah, like I don't like you. I don't want you to have it.
Like, you don't like me either. You don't like me either. So it's mutually beneficial for us to not work together because we're not like vibing.
This is an intimate relationship. Like we're in like a relationship with these people.
Now I go to dinner, like two of my girlfriends, I realized I'm like, oh my God, how do I know them? They were clients of mine 2 years ago. And now we like hang out and go. If you ever come to Connecticut, Mr. Frosty's in Norwalk is an ice cream shop that has an ice cream flavor named the House of Huck. I love ice cream and it's a client of mine and he knows how much I love ice cream. And I literally go there and drop like $1.50 every time on quarts of ice cream. It's ridiculous.
Love.
And one day he texted me. All he did was text me a picture of my sign. It says House of Huck. It's Oreo and Heath Toffee Crunch in a vanilla base. And I cried.
That's so cute.
I was like, did you really do that? Like behind the scenes, secret. Anyways, I'm sharing that because like they're dear friends of ours now. And we renovated their home and furnished it. Like,
that's so sweet.
Those are the people who I want to give my phone number to.
That's amazing.
Not the guy that just
they're not going to disrespect it. And I don't think I'm getting it any disrespect. I like should clarify. I think it's mostly that it's the emotional separation is the most important for me. Like I never even see a notification from my business when I'm not on business time. I don't hear it. I don't see it. There's no visual reminder. Because the difference I think too is like, Rebecca, you're a leave notifications on your email. I'm oh my God, there's 20 notifications. I have to look at them. So because I can't shut off that part of my brain, I'm now having to say, what do I do to make it shut off separately? So anyhow.
What are your ideal business hours? Like when's your phone turning on and when's it turning off?
Oh my God. Well, ideal is different than what's realistic, but no earlier. I don't want any notifications before 9 and I don't want anything after 4 because what the hell can I do with it after 4?
Cool.
There's nothing I'm going to get after 4 o'clock or on that I'm going to be able to jump on that day, like, or finish that day or edit that day or solve. Like I only have an hour left.
In my welcome guide, it's like kind of, my welcome guide is very informal. It has my vernacular is not the right word, but like my tone definitely comes across. And I do say on one of the pages, our business hours are Monday through Friday, 9 to 4. Should you need, work-life balance is very important. We're a small family-run business. Should you need to have a meeting after hours or on the weekends, we consider on a case by case for an additional fee. Now, I'll be honest, for those lovely clients that I'm friends with, if they truly need a 7:00 meeting for whatever, awesome. But I just like to have that in there. So the expectation isn't, well, I work 8 to 5. So can we meet with you every Tuesday at 8:00 at night? Like, no, we can't.
No.
You have a lot of people requesting that. Like, I don't ever have anyone trying to do that.
Nope, not clients, because I've weeded them out. But I definitely do get a decent amount of people that high-powered female and male or whatever that have this job and they travel for a living, or they're only available after hours. I usually can also figure that out by the discovery call when I propose between 9 and 4 and they're like, I work. How does 6:30 sound? And I'm like, but
awful.
I work too. And those are my hours.
I really appreciate that you've shared so much of your boundaries with us and the hotties today.
For sure.
Yay!
Yeah. I think you should definitely share with the hotties where they can follow along with what you're doing, because they're going to want to absorb more of the secrets from House of Huck.
And they're not secrets. I'm an open book. I love to share, but you can find me. You can slide into my DMs at House of Huck is my Instagram handle. And then good old www.houseofhuck.com is my website, which has, hopefully you'll think, some beautiful portfolio pictures. We have a YouTube channel that's slowly but surely growing with some tips and tricks there too.
And you've also been working on building out some resources that are helpful for designers that they can find on your website too, right?
Yes. My famous one is our construction renovation calculator, which is my favorite. Yes, you can head to the shop and find some templates there too.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing so openly with our hotties today, Meredith.
Oh my gosh. Thank you for calling me a hottie at the very beginning. I mean, I am.
Always. It's a state of mind. Yeah, we're all living in it.
Oh, you guys are the best. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Meredith.
So until next time,
stay hot, designers.
Thanks for listening to the Hot Young Designers Club podcast.
For more on what we talked about today, check out the show notes.
Your support helps us grow, so share with your design besties.
And subscribe and leave a review on Apple Podcasts.
Our conversations continue on Instagram.
And be sure to download our monthly resources on our website and our Patreon.